So hello everyone, today is Thursday, August 18, 2022, and as usual we are doing the Hindu Delhi edition. So we'll be first identifying the most important news and it will be followed by a detailed discussion. So without wasting time, let's move forward. Okay, and identify the most important news. MHA overrules minister tweets on providing flat to Rohingya. Fine, know this thing, not required. Okay, there is a shift in BJP. Fine, not required. Okay, there is nothing here. Okay. Mm-hmm. There is nothing here. Have you seen this movie Gadar? In that, this Bara Imam Wara has been used, where Ashraf Ali gives the dialogue, that famous hand pump scene. It is near this only, this part only. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see the editorial. The geopolitics of fourth Taiwan crisis. If China loses Taiwan for good, Beijing attempts to establish regional hegemony would be complicated further. Okay, we'll see this. Okay, because Taiwan has been in news for good time. Mains are around the corner. Maybe a question on Taiwan and POK related big picture can feature in it. Okay. The maritime partnership still works, is a still work in progress. Okay, just know this thing. The center versus state tussle on IS posting. This has been a very phenomena that has been for a very long time. Okay. Data opportunities at D20. The Indian government should present a historic agenda that embeds data collection and sharing. Know this thing, that is more than enough. Okay. Now, if you are a regular follower of this thing, newspaper, then you must be knowing this thing. Okay, I'll do it one more time. No worries. Right. Let's see. What's causing Arctic warning? Very important. We have to do it. A direct question can appear in this mains and a direct question in prelims as well. There is no point saying that it cannot appear, right? If required, we'll see the entire article. This is that Bara Imam Bara, okay, and here has been the famous this what we say hand pump scene of Gadar. Here Amrish Puri was standing, here there was Sunny Deol and his Jite and his wife, and here there were Maulvis and all those people, right? You see the movie, you will understand what I am talking about, and it was all now painted in red sandstone color, right? You see the movie, you will understand what I am talking, if you haven't seen, and if you have seen, then enjoy. Release sent wrong, not required. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Voters are not looking for freebies, say Supreme Court. I differ from that. Okay, voters may be looking at freebies given the sluggish state of economy. That's That's entirely possible. And who does not want free electricity and free water, right? Daily PM level 2.5, PM 2.5 level worst in the world. This is really a problem and it should be sorted out. Center projects record production of rice. We'll just see the value. What is the record production this year? British workers needs to work hard. Okay. Israel Turkey restore food relations. Very good. Okay. Mm-hmm. Center raises threshold for prosecution under Customs Act. Okay. To 50 lakhs. Fine. For prosecution, you will need to need a recovery of 50 lakhs is needed. Fine. So we are on the sports page and we don't have many news here, right? So let's move on for analysis. Okay. I think it was on fifth page. Yes. Fine. So there is nothing here on this page, and neither anything there was on these pages as well. Yes, we have to do this editorial. The geopolitics of the fourth Taiwan crisis. If China loses Taiwan for good, Beijing attempt to establish regional hegemony would be complicated further. Okay, so you know the location of Taiwan. This is India. Okay, no, India is not like this. Okay, this is India. This is the entire Indochina. Right, so this is how it is. So here we have this Taiwan. This is, you can understand, this is your Himalayas, these are the Indo-Chinese country, and here we have the Taiwan island. Okay, Taiwan. You have to understand the geography before moving into it, right? Now let's see. 16th Supreme State Council meeting on April 15, 1959, Mao Zedong told the delegates a story called The Cocky Scholar Sitting at Night. The young scholar was reading in his room. A ghost with its long tongue stretching out appeared by the window. It wanted to scare the scholar, but the scholar took his ink brush, painted his face as dark as that of Zhang Fi, the dreaded third century Han's Dynasty general, and stared back at the ghost with his tongue reaching out. The ghost eventually disappeared. Mao told this story to explain why he had ordered the shelling of Kinmen and Matsu Island, lying along the mainland but governed by Taliban a year earlier. The ghost in Mao's story was the United States. Never be afraid of the ghost. The more you are afraid, the more difficult it is to survive. A brief history. China response to US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visit to Taiwan on August to remind one of the Mao's story. Its unprecedented military drills around the island and repeated threat of using force for unification suggest that China's views on the Taiwan issue and the US role in it have not changed, but changed a bit over years. Even though it never managed to scare away the ghost and had to make several tactical retreats in the past, Mao wanted to be a leader who achieved national reunification. But he knew that it was practically impossible for PLA, which did not even have a proper navy, in early 50s to cross Taiwan Strait. Okay, so where is Taiwan Strait? This is Taiwan Strait. Okay, and retake the island. Beside this, US President Truman's decision to send US Navy 7th Fleet to the strait has created a buffer between the communist-ruled mainland and Kuomintang-held Taiwan. What he could do as well to shell Kinmen and Matasu Island in 1954 and then in 1958 triggered the first and second Taiwan Strait crisis. However, taking the island by force remained a distant dream. Okay, so in 54 there was a shelling on this Kinmen, and in 58 there was a shelling on this Matsu Island. Okay. By the time China started building military capacities, the geopolitical dynamics of the region has begun shifting. In 70s, faced with the Soviet problem, China focused shifting to battering its tie with the US and later on with its own economic development. The Taiwan issue was put on back burner without making compromises on the goal of unification. The issue would resurface in 1995 when Taiwanese President Lee Teng-hui visited Cornell University in US. China started military drills and missile tests in the strait, triggered the third strait crisis. But US President Bill Clinton responded by sending US aircraft carriers to the strait, eventually forcing Beijing to de-escalate. For China, it was another crude reminder of the gap between its objective and actual strength. The ghost was still the king of Taiwan Strait. New normal. Over past 27 years, the regional situation has changed dramatically. If Soviet Union brought China and US closer in second half of the Cold War, the successor state of Soviet Union, Russian Federation today is not only one of the China's closest partner, but also a power that militarily changes the US-led post-Cold War security architecture in Europe. If Mr. Clinton has confidently sent aircraft carriers to the Taiwan Strait in response to Chinese drill in 1990s, US President Biden would not dare to that today without factoring in the possibility of military conflict with the world's largest navy. The sharpest manifestation of these changes was fourth Taiwan Strait crisis unleashed by China in response to Ms. Pelosi's recent visit. Mr. Biden has reportedly said in recent months that US would come to Taiwan's defense if attacked. Every time Mr. Biden makes a remark, the White House issues a statement explaining that US policy of strategic ambiguity, being ambiguous on the question of whether US would come to Taiwan defense, has not changed. But Mr. Biden's repeated statements suggest that US policy is becoming less and less ambiguous than certain. Against this already tense background, China viewed a visit by an American leader to an island which it sees as a breakaway province as a clear act of provocation. For China, the ghost has been incrementally violating the status quo, and it is responded by establishing a new normal. Its warship and jet breached the median line of Taiwan state, rendering it meaningless. The drills were held in territorial waters and airspace claimed by Taiwan. China's missile flew over the island. As Taiwan's foreign minister Joseph Wu put in, China has openly declared ownership of the Taiwan Strait. China sees Taiwan as the last vestige of its century of humiliation that began with its defeat in the First Opium War, 39 to 42, and Chinese Communist Party want the island back for historical, political, and geopolitical reasons. Historically, the party sees Taiwan as always a part of China. It was a part of Imperial China before it became a Japanese colony in 1995. When Japan was defeated in Second World War, Taiwan was returned to the nationalist Republic of China, ruled by Kuomintang. Chiang Kai-shek and his Kuomintang supporter fled to Taiwan in 1949 after they lost the civil war to communists in the mainland. Since then, Taiwan has remained a self-ruled island, while national reunification has stayed one of the most important promises and objective of CCP. Politically, no Chinese leader, not even Xi Jinping, who is arguably the most powerful leader since Mao, can compromise on the Taiwan question without damaging their authority, career and legacy. On contrary, Mr. Tsai, who is expected to get an unusual third term in 20th Party Congress later this year, would like to go down in history as a leader who achieved what even Mao couldn't do. On hegemony, geopolitically, Taiwan is critical for China's great power ambition. No country can become a global superpower without establishing a regional hegemony. The US is protected by world's two largest oceans, the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, and has successfully established hegemony in mainly in Western Hemisphere. The Soviet has enjoyed the hegemony in the Black Sea and Baltic Sea. On contrary, China, despite its capability, is caged naval power in crowded neighborhood. And if it loses Taiwan for good, which is just 180 kilometers from its mainland, China's attempt to establish regional hegemony would be complicated further. So it would like control of the island not only to fulfill historical promises, but also to shore up the geopolitical stature as a great power in Western Pacific. The question is whether China thinks the time has come to take the risk to meet the objective. This does not mean that military actions would be easy for China. Taiwan has been outside its control since 1949. Even if China takes Taiwan, keeping it under its thumb would be challenging, given the island topography and nationalist group, and there is no geopolitical contiguity from the mainland of Taiwan, which could continue to pose security challenges. Moreover, any strategic miscalculations would prove counterproductive to China standing in the region, like what had happened with the misadventurous peak powers in the past. But the counter arguments are also equally persuasive. China thinks the strategic environment around Taiwan has shifted in its favor, with a window of opportunity to make the moves as US is caught in the triangular entanglement, its failure in the Muslim world, desire to defeat Russia and Europe, and strategy to contain China rise in Indo-Pacific. Once the structure of the new Cold War is in place, Taiwan emerges as the front line. It would be difficult for China to get the island back as it was in German or Korean unification under the communists. This is what making the fourth Taiwan Strait crisis the most dangerous one. Okay, so already there has been three. This is the fourth. Two in 50s, one in 95, and now after 27 years. Okay, know these things. Now you will be thinking that why I have read this article or why I took this article for today's read. It is because look, there is this fourth Taiwan crisis. We do not about the first, second and third. So now we know about all the three crises, four crises. Second, the implications. Okay, what it is. Third thing is POK, China, Taiwan, and your India. This quadrilateral we have to understand. India wants POK, Pakistan wants POK, China wants Taiwan, okay, and India is in between. China Taiwan crisis is there. China would never dare to go to POK. If there is a battle between China and Taiwan for capture of Taiwan, then India could easily go and capture POK. Pakistan can do nothing here. Okay, apart from just criticizing, they can do nothing because their economy is in doldrum. Okay, now let's see. So we have to understand this. This is the most significant thing here. Okay, the center versus state tussle over IAS postings. India needs a stable system of civil services to bolster responsive public administration. It is now official. The government of India painfully admitted recently to what some of us has already knew. Fewer and fewer AIS officers are working in state were coming forward to opt for tenure with the center. The overwhelming majority would like to be in the comfort zone of their state cadres and vegetate there rather than migrate, albeit even for one short spell of 3 to 5 years, to to the country's capital and its neighborhood to work for union government. This is no reflection on center's ability or willingness to offer incentives to maintain the morale of the IAS and IPS who choose to work for it on deputation. Rigor routine of Government of India. There are many positives in working for Government of India. These includes a psychological satisfaction on contributing to the formulation of the national policy on many critical issues such as education, healthcare and preservation of the environment. This throws up many opportunities for foreign travel and chance to be deputed to work for international agencies. These prospects do not, however, seem to be attractive enough for many officers to carve out posting in Delhi. Several factors account for this reluctancy. These include rigor of GOI routine, long hours of work, and the need for extreme clinical care in preparation and submission of the report going up the hierarchy, sometimes up to Prime Minister himself. Compounded with this, fewer creature comforts that what is available in state environment, as also the need to operate sometime far away from one native state. There is only a few who are fortunate enough to be allotted their home state or closer. Not surprisingly, many willing to go to Delhi on deputation are those assigned to northeastern states. Officer shying away from going to Delhi is not a new phenomenon, but is one that has lately assumed grave proportions. This is a serious situation if one reckons that manpower demands of Government of India ministry at the level of deputy secretaries, directors who generally come from IAS are growing. There is no doubt now that there is lateral entry scheme meant for qualified personnel from public and private sector. Their number is too small to make even a marginal difference to the deteriorating vacancies posting at the center. The ease of IPS is equally bad. The case of IPS is equally bad. There are far too many vacancies in central police establishment comprising the parliamentary forces such as CRPF, BSF, CISF, CBI, NIA. The organization particularly affected is CBI. When this is the case, ironically, the non-IPS direct recruits to paramilitary forces are permanently at war within the Home Ministry, demanding a greater share of jobs in the higher posts. The cadre rules now in place do not permit such expansion of opportunity for non-IPS officers. A major grouse of the latter is that none of them can even rise to head of the forces. The rationale is that they lack experience at grassroots level of policing essential to operate in the unison with local civil authorities. The AIS structure is unique to India and is too delicate to handle during crisis. No public administration practitioner or scholar abroad can comprehend its nuances. All India Services appointment. So selection of AIS is done through UPSC, which holds an annual examination that attracts about 3 lakh to 4 lakh young aspirants competing for less than 1000 positions. The appointing authority for those shortlisted from the written examination followed by an oral interview is currently the central government. Appointment officers are allotted to various states, the number of officers depending on each state requirement. Thereafter, they spend most of their career in those states. Intervene by short spells of deputation to center. While they are functioning under state government, disciplinary authority is vested in the former, except that a state cannot impose a major penalty on delinquent AIS officer for any misconduct. Suspension of an officer from service by state government will have to be ratified by center before end of 3 months. This is meant to be a safeguard against any arbitrary action by the state government. I, however, know of a case of a totally unjustified harassment of the distinguished police officer who was harassed for reporting to the Indian government after the state went back on its earlier promise to relieve her to join central organization. There was a short-lived tussle between the state and Ministry of Home Affairs over the issue. A few years ago, we also witnessed such battles in other states too, especially in West Bengal, where senior officers of Chief Secretary, such as Chief Secretary and Commissioner of Police, were greatly embarrassed because of Chief Ministers and Government of India were out of step with each other. In this situation, where the canons of prudent and mature government are ignored, that poses a threat to the foundation of AIS. Empowering the center, crass politics triumphing over the enlightened public administration has become the order of the day. It is in the context that center dialogue with states over amending the AIS rule assumes importance. Such amendment would empower center to commander the services of any officer serving in the state to work for the former with or without concurrence of the state concerned or the consent of the particular officer. However, it is debatable whether the states will agree to this change. Intriguing times are therefore ahead of all of us who are convinced that we need a stable system of civil services to bolster democratic and responsive public administration in our country. Okay, just a routine thing. It comes every month or so. We get an article after every 20-25 days on this thing. Okay, so Arctic warming, we are here. Why is Greenland ice sheet melting at an alarming rate? How it is affecting the monsoon? Let's see. Due to warming, any change in surface of the air temperature and the net radiation balance tends to produce larger changes at north and south pole. These changes are more pronounced at northern latitudes and are known as Arctic amplification. Okay, this is a technical term. I'll come to it right now. In May 2021, the Arctic Monitoring and Assessment Program has warned that Arctic has warmed 3 times quicker than the planet. For several years, the Greenland ice sheet has been melting at an alarming rate. When the Greenland ice sheet saw a sharp spike in the rate and extent of melting. A study by a group of Indian and Norwegian scientists have found that the reduced sea ice in the Barents Kara Sea, look, Barents Sea is here and Kara Sea is nearby, it is here only, fine, not mentioned there, so I cannot show you, can lead to extreme rainfall events in latter half of the monsoon in September and October. Okay, so we have this thing called Arctic amplification. Okay, first we have to understand what is amplification, right? This is a system, this is input, this is output, this is feedback which goes back into the input. Now feedback can be of two types. One can be positive feedback, other can be negative feedback. Positive feedback means anything that increases output and this will decrease output or what? Or it will keep output at equilibrium. Okay, so this will lead to what? Amplification. Why? Because output is being increased. The best example is your audio amplifiers, right? If your sound level is very low, then also it can increase the amplitude of that sound level, okay, by creating a system, fine. So this is what happens. Now let's see the Arctic case. Okay, sunlight is input, melting of ice is output. Melting of ice leads to what? It leads to release of CH4 plus blackening of ground. Why? I'll tell you right now. And this again goes here as input with sunlight. This will lead to what? This will lead to more melting of ice. How? Now, why it is this blackening of ground? Look, this is your ground, okay, and this is the ice sheet over it. So sunlight comes, it goes on reflecting. Why? Because the snow is a good reflector of heat. But when the snow is not there, okay, when the snow melts, then this is the ground which is black in color. So what will happen? It will absorb some heat and will release less heat than the case for ice. Now this is called blackening of ground, because black bodies are what? They are good conductor, good absorber of heat, not conductor, absorber of heat. Okay, so they will absorb more. Here absorption increases, therefore it is called blackening of ground. So absorption increases here, and also greenhouse gases like methane, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide and all they are also trapped inside these icebergs. So as and when they melt, these gases are also released, and this will lead to what? This will lead to overall increased melting of ice. This is called amplification. Okay, so now you understand. Give it a read, you will understand. This is an easy thing. Okay, my main target is to let you know what are the important events going in the news, and thus you can see it and make notes out of it. The ministry said that production of food grain in the country is estimated to about 316. Okay, just remember 315 million tons of rice production will be there. Okay, good data, more than 300 tons if you want, 310 tons or about 320 tons, million tons. Okay, fine. So we are done with today's newspaper analysis. I hope you like it. If you like it, consider subscribing the channel, liking the content, sharing and commenting. Okay, fine. So with this I am ending today's analysis. I hope you like it. So goodbye all, good luck, study hard and Jai Hind. So friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Follow us on Telegram as well. Also keep studying hard, keep following your dreams and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard.